So what's your reaction when you see Rivian get a $100 billion valuation?
Well, I feel very conflicted about it. And just to go back in time a little bit, Rivian raised a private round at the beginning of this year at about a $28 billion valuation. So there's been an astronomical run-up between the private market, who've been watching this for a long time, and now getting into the hands of retail investors. Whenever there's that kind of disconnect, Scott, I get a little nervous because I wonder what new information has broken once this business is in the public domain to justify it. And right now, I don't see it. When you look at Rivian topping some of the big traditional auto manufacturers, despite the fact that it has effectively zero sales right now, I get a little nervous at these valuation levels.
I mean, we literally could roll back time and say that we could have the same conversation way back when about Tesla, and look where it is now. So can you see a similar road, for lack of a better, pardon the pun, I guess it's intended, ahead for a company like Rivian?
I think that's the key piece of this, Scott, which is what justification is there for the valuation a little bit further down the line versus where it is today. I think the fact that Rivian has got the backing of someone like Amazon, who's put in 100,000 commercial van orders, that 12% of this business is owned by Ford, indicates that the future is promising. But so far, there's been a lack of execution. I think if you look at some of the other players in this space, Lucid, for example, hasn't been getting product out there as quickly as has been expected. Nikola suffered from perhaps over-promising on what the future could look like. I think the level of forgiveness right now, Scott, for businesses that are out there on the hope of growth rather than executing against it with a bit of a track record, I'm not sure that forgiveness is going to be there in quite the same way as it has been in the past.
What do you think this is all about? Is it just simply a product of bull market activity? You throw in ESG is totally in vogue, and thus and obviously with the hype of Tesla going over $1 trillion in market cap, and this is what the product of that is?
I think some of it is bull market sentiment, Scott, but I think some of it is the fact that there are actually real, tangible waves of momentum now to actually build the entire EV infrastructure. I mean, one of the things that's plagued this business, but looks like it's going to be addressed with government backing, and we're seeing this in the infrastructure bill, is the build out of EV charging ports and charging stations for the public. That's something that hasn't had the same focus in the past. And so I think when you've got a holistic movement, whether it's government spending, whether it's the fact that you've got battery manufacturers and starting to scale up now, getting out of their startup stage into that sort of escape velocity arena, when you start to see all the pieces of the ecosystem come together in the way that we are now, I think that's as much driving these upward movements in the stock prices in the EV market as it is, frankly, I think a little bit of bull market that's driving a bit of overvaluation at the moment.
What do you think a reasonable valuation would be?
I do think a bit of a correction. I think 15–20% correction downwards in Rivian wouldn't be out of the ordinary. When I look at where Tesla is trading right now, it's something like 15 times 2023 expected revenue, and I compare that to where Rivian is, that would actually point on a mathematical basis to a bigger break in Rivian's value. I just happen to think that with the backers they have, while I'm not there at their price today, I do think that that gap, that disconnect between the two of them is a little narrower than a bigger break would suggest.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.